You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. We don't have any new callers, but we got a lot of callers. I don't know how long before we get to the Micah Parsons news, but we'll get there when we get there. But without further ado, why don't we get started with Beer Cheese Benny.
Hey Ryan, Beer Cheese Benny here. Another day, more smoke. I mean, come on, man. They do this crap every year, man, with us. They're like, oh, Packers are interested, or Packers are in trade talks. And it's just like, and then you got all these accounts like, OMG, guys, ... Like, I saw Clayton posted that, and then freaking K. Adams like, you guys, ... I'm like, okay, enough of this. Like, quit screwing with me, man. Quit screwing with me.
Messing with my emotions.
No, we're not getting Micah Parsons, dude. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, and if it does, man, that's amazing. Although I would hate to lose a lot of draft picks, you know what I mean?
I do.
But at the end of the day, dude, Micah Parsons is not getting traded to anywhere. Because eventually we know how this is going to go. They're going to wait. Cowboys are going to wait so long, and then you're just going to have to get a deal done. And they're going to have to pay him. And they're going to pay him a boatload of money. And that's that. However, I don't know. At the same time, I don't know. Because it seems like Parsons' agent and Jerry Jones they just don't see eye to eye. They're like, we just don't want to deal with you. But, I mean, I don't know, dude. I'm just sick of that kind of same, like, Packers were in the conversation. Like, that's what it's going to be. Like, that's why I hate when this crap happens. But, anyways, I saw people saying, like, oh, dude, our corner room, so bad. And I was just like, well, if we get Parsons, we don't really have to worry about who's at corner because they won't have to cover anybody for long. You got, assuming you'd have Gary and Parsons or something like that, and like our D-line can play decent to get the pressure, man. But anyways, I don't know, dude. It's not going to happen, guys. Get it out of your head, please.
Well, I don't feel the need to certainly not dunk on that take, but also just skip that take because, first of all, that's where I think most of us were at. This sort of, it's not going to happen, stop being crazy, and stop messing with my emotions, but it might happen. There's nothing really even to dunk on either because he's right. There's no way Dallas can let a guy like that walk out the door. Zero chance. And if they do, never would they trade him to Green Bay. Yes, in hindsight, that statement is wrong. But it shouldn't have been wrong. What are they doing? This is the dumbest thing any team has done. I don't know how long. And the Packers are the beneficiary. It's wild and crazy stuff.
Hey, Ryan, it's Nate. Just wanted to call in because I was pretty excited to see that exactly one of my predictions came true with Bo Melton making it as corner, which good for him. You know, everybody was so excited, like Travis Hunter is going to come in and do this wide receiver, like, corner thing. And I'm like, I mean, Bo Melton could probably do it, you know, and I'm not saying he's going to be like elite at it, but you know, he could flip-flop back and forth if we needed. But whatever. The main thing that I wanted to call in about is just the fucking Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift thing. I have the have the lovely luck of being married to a Swiftie, so I have just been nonstop hearing about it.
Sure.
Because she's also got an album release going on right now, and that was bad enough. That was bad enough, trust me. Like every detail, every countdown, every variation of the album cover, every single detail of all the, like the way that we speculate on football is how Swifties speculate on these albums. I'm not joking.
All right.
And then this news gets dropped on top of it, and I just don't have the energy for it anymore. It's not that I dislike either of them that much. I just don't care.
Right.
I just don't care, but I'm forced to care, and that's what I really hate. So I'm just like,
well, that is kind of the annoying part about it, is you have this shoved down your throat 24/7. You're watching a football game, and they're talking about Taylor Swift, something that 4% of actual football fans care about. I made that up, but probably. And it's just consistently shoved down your throat. And when you say stop doing that, then the response is, "Oh, you're just being you're being a baby, you're being a snowflake, you're being blah, blah, blah." No, I'm not the one being or doing. They are. How about we just stop doing that? It's not like if, an NFC North podcast talked a lot about the Lions, or mostly about the Lions because they were the best team in the NFC North, and I'm like, don't do that, I don't like that. That would be a different thing. It makes perfect sense to talk about the Lions. In fact, it could be an NFL podcast. Generally, it doesn't have to be NFC North. If an NFL podcast talked a disproportionate amount about the Lions and how much they love Goff and Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown and the head coach and the friggin' branch, and it makes sense. I mean, if it's too much, it might be a little weird, but it still makes sense. Taylor Swift is not a football player. I don't even think she's a football fan. She's pretending to be now that she's engaged, I guess, to a football player. But her and all the Swifties could not care any less about football. They don't care. They want Taylor Swift's boyfriend to win. That's it. This is why I said 1,000 times. The second this goes away, the Swifties leave. So the NFL chasing them like, guys, do you want to stay? You want to stay? It's going to be great. You want to try maybe a different team, or you guys want to like attend a Packers Jets game? Dude, they're going to look at you like you're the dumbest person on earth. Like, what are you talking about? You think I care about football? I don't care about football. I just worship everything Taylor Swift has even a passing interest in. But it's like, oh, look, Taylor Swift's up there. She's up there. She's still up there. Look at her face. Look at her face. Look at her lipstick. Look at it in the booth. Look at her cheer. Look at her dance. Look at her hanging out. Look at her talk to Brittany Mahomes. Look at her stand there. Look at her sit there. Look at her walk over that way. Look at her stay. Why do I... Listen, if you one time pan over and go, hey, look, there's a celebrity, it's like, oh, yeah, interesting. That's fine. 9 times? Nobody needs that. And all the, like, male Swifties that are sitting there going, oh, if you're mad by this, then you're just a big old baby. Bro, you're telling on yourself. Okay? Just stop.
Just be done. Just go get married. Stop playing football and fuck
go
off
be happy.
For the rest of
go
your life.
away and be happy.
You have enough money between the two of you. Go buy an island and leave everybody alone forever.
Buy a
and
country.
Ever. So anyway, just wanted to call and vent that out because I have a very long next few months ahead of me. Go Pack Go.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think things are about to get better for you, though. I don't know.
Ryan, how the heck are you? This is Nico from Idaho.
Oh, I'm good.
Just calling just to say what's up. We're down to the main roster. I mean, yeah, there's always a couple surprises. They always cut it for people that you don't think they'd cut, and then they keep people you don't know, and that's kind of how it is. I was kind of surprised they went off and got another offensive lineman, which I don't disagree with. Someone called yesterday talking about how that's like, being anti-McCarthy. And that's true, because McCarthy was like reactionary as opposed to, doing stuff before you needed it. And I think that's signs of doing it the right way.
Sure.
Kind of wonder, like, does that mean he doesn't like our offensive players? But I hope that's not what that means. Our offensive linemen. I mean, honestly, I've been begging for offensive linemen. You know, I love the big burly men. I love big burly men. Beef on the line.
Why?
So, yeah, excited about all the stuff. I haven't looked. I'm sure a few people that caught, like Kalen King, they'll probably try to sneak back on the practice squad. But, yeah, just go Pecco. Forgetting your coffee, that is so. So you're still a young buck, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
And wait till your mind. I'm 55 or something. 50. I don't know.
Yep.
55, something like that. I mean, I feel like I'm 30, but my brain feels like it's 90. I forget. Like if it's not connected to my body, there's a really good chance I will forget it.
Sure.
And that just happens as you get older, you know. At first, I thought it was some anomaly. I was getting like early on-stage Alzheimer's, but the more I kind of mentioned it to the people my age, yeah.
Did you say on stage?
But we all do. So you put your cup. I have literally walked into a room with my wallet in my hand, and then as I'm leaving the room, I feel for my wallet, and it's not in my back pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Well, where's my wallet? And I go search for 20 minutes. And I put it in some random weird location that I would never put my wallet there. So one of the things I have been doing for like 20 years is I try to only have like 2 or 3 places I'll put stuff. Like when I get home, my keys go either here or here or here.
Yep.
Never on some random shelf because that's when your brain goes, nope, don't remember.
Yep.
Sucks to be you. So yeah, it just gets better as you get older. The cool thing is that eventually you get to the point where you forget everything. So then everything's just cool. You're like
Forget that you forgot.
You know, I don't want to say retarded, but you know, you're like someone who doesn't really remember anything.
You're like
so
one of those
happy.
people.
It's all good. I'm probably a couple years from that. So hey, you know, it's uphill after that. So hey, go back, go, and don't forget what you put the coffee.
Oh yeah, that doesn't happen all the time, but that is the issue. Right? I've got certain things that I put in certain places, and that's it. But if you're holding coffee and you have to go do something and you set it down, your brain forgets. The crazy thing is that announcements are out of control today. You're very positive that you know where you have been. That's when it gets frustrating. Like, bro, I walked from that spot where I had my coffee to this spot. That is a 5-foot straight line, and I can look on both sides of that. I'm looking on top of the fridge, both countertops, on the ground, every conceivable space that my arms can reach, walking from there to there, and it's not here. What did I do? Did I throw it across the room? That's when I really feel like I'm going nuts, because it's not just blanket forgetting. I mean, forgetting is part of the problem. But it's like, what kind of absolute psychotic sabotage did I engage in? Where my brain shut off, ran to another room, stuck it in some little drawer, ran back, turned my brain back on, finished walking to the other side of the room, or the other side of the kitchen, and was like, that's interesting. Good luck with that. Freaking jag off.
Yo, it's Big Cheese Buddy.
What's up, man?
Just got out of work. What's up? Anyways, I've been seeing this thing on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Matt Schneidman sat down with Pat McAfee's show.
Okay.
And talked about how Ed Policy said he is not sure about extending LaFleur and Gutekunst. And what I don't understand is how Packer fans will say that's made up. He just made that up. Like, he literally just said, when we sat down with Ed Policy, like, to talk to him, like, I'm sure, like, the reporters like to get a feel of what kind of like he's about, and they ask him questions. I'm sure that's not made up. But, honestly, dude, I mean, Policy is going to do what he wants, man. And he's going to try to make his mark. And he might see things a little bit different than Mark Murphy did. And that's okay. And to tell you the truth, I hope we don't get rid of Matt LaFleur. I like him as a coach. Gutekunst, I don't know, man. I'm not saying I hate or love him, but, I mean, this kind of is a prove-it year for both of them, really. To get the extension, of course. Because, I mean, if we're just like one and done in the playoffs, I don't know if that's going to warrant an extension. You know what I mean? I think we need to get, we need to get out of at least to the NFC Championship. I think, policy might not like Gutekunst because of the fact that maybe he just doesn't like the way he drafts or like the way he's built the team and he wants it built differently. And then, with LaFleur, it's like just playing good in the playoffs, like having the team ready and stuff. I don't know, dude. To be honest, I don't know how I feel about it. Like, who are we going to have as a GM? I feel like GMs maybe are a dime a dozen, but coaches, dude, I don't know. It would be hard to replace a coach like Matt LaFleur. It really would be, and I just don't see why that would be smart. But anyways, Micah Parsons is not going to be a Packer, so get it out of your heads. I am so tired of seeing the Packers say, he's going to be a Packer. No, he's not.
So I didn't see that. This is the first I'm hearing of this. But let me just, in very brief research that was done while you were speaking, I believe Schneidman is commenting on this quote. Ed Policy said, I'm generally opposed, I'd never say never, but I'm generally opposed to a coach or GM going into their last year of their contract. That creates a lot of issues. I think normally you have a pretty good idea of where that relationship is going when you have 2 years left. So I think generally speaking, I would avoid lame duck status. It's oftentimes difficult on everybody involved, but there are certain situations that probably call for it, so I would never say never. So Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst are both under contract through 2026. So what he's saying is generally you do not want these guys going into 2026 on that last year of their contract, meaning they would be getting extensions this year, something to that effect. Schneidman interpreted Policy's earlier comments that he wasn't planning to extend Matt LaFleur or Brian Gutekunst right now, and that he saw the downside of a lame duck situation with a bit more nuance. He said he thought Policy might be leaning toward eventually extending both, but he hadn't been involved in hiring both of them, but that Policy remains truly up in the air about their futures. Here's the focal part. Schneidman said, and this is basically a direct pull from what he shared, if the Packers don't make the playoffs this year, I could certainly see Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst, and I don't think this is hyperbole, both getting fired after this year. On the flip side, Schneidman offered a path to calm waters if Green Bay makes the playoffs, yet loses in the first round. Policy might let them finish out the lame duck 2026 season, and of course, if the Packers go on a real playoff run, it could all get tossed aside. So I don't know where Schneidman's coming from on this. He may be working with more information than what this quote says, but this quote to me doesn't sound like it has really anything to do with Gutekunst or Matt LaFleur. It just has to do with general strategy. How do you handle these situations? And he's saying generally you don't want them going into, in this case, 2026. He said, but sometimes, you do. Schneidman then apparently is coming out and going, yeah, he just doesn't really like these guys very much, and if they don't perform, they're going to get fired. It's essentially what he's saying. And I don't know where that's coming from. It's certainly not coming from this paragraph here. Let me keep digging here a little bit because this is all brand new to me. I had missed this, obviously. I said I'd missed a lot of news, and then the Parsons thing happened and everything else got swept under the rug. So here's Pat McAfee. Ed Policy said he's not extending LaFleur and Gutekunst right now. Let's just hear what this is. It's almost 3 minutes, but let's just see what it says.
Schneids, I think everyone probably assumes that, LaFleur and Gutekunst will get re-upped here shortly. Just
correct.
Because the Packers have been pretty successful over their run and they've made the playoffs. But is there any thought with Ed Policy coming in and it not being Mark Murphy?
This is also important, just having not heard this before. The fact that he's coming into it saying, is it possible? Obviously, the answer is going to some degree be yes. Because it's not impossible.
there anymore and kind of it being a little bit of a new regime. Is this in any way maybe like kind of a prove-it year for both LaFleur and Gutekunst if the Packers kind of, I don't want to say fall flat, but don't kind of do what a lot of people expect them to do?
Yeah, so we sat down with Ed Policy, just the local writers, a couple weeks ago, and he said he's not extending LaFleur and Gutekunst now. LaFleur and Gutekunst both have 2 years left on their contracts. This is Gute's 8th year, LaFleur's 7th. He said he also doesn't want them in contract years, so basically he would like to make a decision one way or the other after this season. My take coming out of that was, okay, he's leaning toward extending them. Sure, LaFleur and Gute are not Ed's guys, technically, but Ed has been here since 2012. He served on the hiring panel for Matt LaFleur. He negotiated the contracts for LaFleur.
Don't know why the internet stopped working there.
And Gutekunst as the Packers general counsel. But there is something to be said for wanting to make your mark and, viewing things differently than maybe Mark Murphy did.
That's, by the way, complete speculation. I mean, just what he's saying is it's definitively speculation. He's saying there's something to be said for wanting to make your mark. In other words, there is sort of this general belief that people tend to want to hire their own people. That has nothing to do specific. I mean, in other words, this could have been said 6 months ago prior to any sit down with Ed Policy, without any knowledge whatsoever of the situation. So up to this point, all I've heard is I had a talk. As of right this second, he's not going to make a decision on extending them. He generally doesn't like taking it into the final year, but sometimes will. And so, yeah, I think it's fair to say that he's... And by the way, the Packers do this with players all the time. There's players you look at and say, of course we want to extend them, but there could be some freak injury that happens, and then good thing we didn't extend them. We just won't. But assuming we get through the season without some catastrophic explosion of horrible nonsense, then yeah, we just extend them as was expected. So there's nothing wrong with just being like, I'm going to bide my time. So I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, let's just wait and make sure that something horrible doesn't happen, and we go to the playoffs like normal, and we'll go from there. But to take what we've heard so far and turn it into like it leaning toward not happening, or however you want to phrase it. In fact, Matt Schneidman quote tweeted this and said, I believe Policy is on the fence about the futures of LaFleur and Gutekunst. A huge season for both for them coming up. I mean, not based on anything I've heard so far, but let's finish this out here.
I spoke to someone recently and was told that he's truly up in the air about the futures of Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst. So I might have been wrong in my initial read. Look, if the Packers don't make the playoffs this year, which I don't...
Well, that part matters. If he talked to somebody, and I don't know what exactly that means, he talked to somebody who said that he believes that they're... And again, I've even said as far as Brian Gutekunst, things have to fall a certain way. You know what I mean? If Morgan doesn't pan out, and Belton doesn't pan out, and Lloyd doesn't seem like he's going to pan out, if Golden is not very good... I mean, look, I might even be in the camp of maybe it's time to move on. LaFleur, I don't know what could possibly happen that would make me come off of LaFleur. Do you understand how many terrible coaches there are? This is one of those things, it's similar to what happened with the Bears, where it's like, this guy's terrible, and then they got rid of him, and the defense went to 0, and the fans were all like, oh, yeah, I forgot he was really good at defense, and I never considered that maybe our defense was as good as it was because he made it a lot better than it should have been. And now our defense just went to 0. Whoops. If we get rid of LaFleur and bring somebody else in, it's like, oh, we need a better leader, a leader of men. Okay, great, and our offense is going to be dog crap because LaFleur is legitimately one of the best offensive minds in the NFL. So I'm not really super interested in playing that game. Oh yeah, you're going to be a great leader of men. Guess how long that's going to last? When you win 8 games and your entire locker room rebels against you. I don't care how much of a great motivational speaker you can be, they're all going to rebel against you. So we'll see what happens. But so far from what I've heard, outside of Schneidman saying he talked to somebody that said he's up in the air, which again, who did you talk to and what does up in the air exactly mean? Does that mean not 100% sold? Because nobody's 100% sold. The best I think you can say is, well, it hasn't been extended yet, so that should tell you something. That's fine. But again, if I was saying, heck yeah, I'm excited, let's get him extended, and somebody came to me and they're like, why don't we just let this year play out? couldn't hurt anything, my answer would be, yeah, makes sense. Let's do that. And I would do the exact same thing. Now, if the season ends, and let's assume they go to the playoffs but don't win the Super Bowl, and it falls somewhere in between, and there's no extension, and he does let them just ride out into the 2026 season, then we know he's 100% on the fence about this, which is fair because, again, we fell short again after doing all this stuff for Parsons, and I just, so far this seems very overblown to me.
I don't think happens, but it's a possibility. I could certainly see Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst, and I don't think this is hyperbole, both getting fired after this year. Now, if they make the playoffs, say lose in the first round again, it could be something where Ed lets them go into a contract year because he needs.
But even that is it's a I don't want to say it's a stupid thing to say necessarily, but understand what he's saying. He's saying I could definitely see it happening, which makes it seem like, holy crap, man, this is serious. He's talking about a scenario where the Packers missed the playoffs. First of all, assuming health, there's almost no chance this team's missing the playoffs. I'm very sorry. I don't see any way that happens. Jordan Love took a significant step back last year. His receivers couldn't catch anything. The first half of the year, there was zero pass rush, and they sailed into the playoffs like it was nothing. In fact, they kicked the living crap out of just about everybody, unless it was some mega super freak elite team. So, I don't know what could cause a healthy Jordan Love with Matthew Golden, a healthy and upgraded offensive line, a significantly upgraded defense. I don't know what's going to cause that to miss the playoffs. And if the big take here is, they might get fired unless they get into the playoffs and get bounced, in which case, then they won't get fired. Like, okay. This isn't like some kind of massive hot take. If you miss the playoffs, somebody could get fired. Yeah, sure, duh, great.
Needs to see more. If they go further in the playoffs, they'll probably get extended. So my takeaway from that is...
Yeah, so even if they don't... So if they can just reach the NFC Championship, they probably get extended. This is the big hot take here. Come on.
It's very much up in the air, and their jobs, again, I don't think this is dramatic to say, are very much in the balance when it comes to how the team does this.
Everybody's job is in the balance depending on how the team does. That's how everything works. Especially when you're saying the standard is if you miss the playoffs, you might be in trouble here. Duh!
Season.
That's pretty, you said not dramatic. I think it's pretty dramatic.
No, it's not, because you weren't listening to what he said. All right, so maybe I'm missing more to it. And again, somebody apparently out there talked to Schneidman and said he's legitimately up in the air. That's fine. I'm kind of up in the air. We're not really dealing in percentages, which is kind of the problem. It's kind of like when he says, I could legitimately see it happening where these guys get fired. Okay, as a percentage, what do you think the odds are they get fired? How much you want to bet? I would almost guarantee you Schneidman puts it below 10%. And I would say significantly below. Otherwise, he's not very good at math. So, anyways, that's a conversation for later. If there's some problems, if the draft picks aren't panning out, if the team looks like it's starting to slip, like it could potentially miss the playoffs, which, to be fair, pretty much every single year for the last several years through weeks 7 or 8, we're panicked that we're going to miss the playoffs. But again, we'll have to circle back to this. All right, let's take a break. We'll be back with Nico.
Yo, Ryan, this is Nico. So I've been kind of thinking about this for a minute. Especially when they kind of made the switch with Melton. And it looks like he made the squad, which I don't know if that's a testament to his ability or a testament to how bad our cornerback room is. But I don't know. We'll figure it out. I know he looks good, but, everybody looks, a lot of times people look good in preseason and in, the pajama Olympics. But so let's just say, because it seems like there's not a shortage of good receivers in the NFL. And I think you just made the comment yesterday, there's good receivers everywhere, right?
A lot of them. Yep.
But I don't know if there's good cornerbacks everywhere.
Not nearly as many.
So, I don't know, would it be a smart decision, let's say you're in college and you're a receiver, and, you're maybe an average receiver. I would call Bo Melton an average receiver with a couple good, abilities. But let's say you're in college and you're kind of like Bo Melton. Why not make the switch then? Like, if you can be an average receiver, maybe you could be a better cornerback. Or maybe even if you're a good receiver, just become a cornerback. Because I think cornerback is obviously it's a high-end position. They make top-tier money. It's almost like being a left-handed, fastball pitcher in baseball. You don't have to be the best. If you're left-handed, you'll play for a long time, make a lot of money. So I don't know. What do you think? Would it be a smart thing if you're maybe not an elite receiver, like McMillan or the guy from last year, what's his face, Marvin Harrison Jr. Would it make sense in college to switch to cornerback? Because unless I'm wrong and there's good cornerbacks everywhere, it just seems like there's always a bunch of good receivers in the draft and there's like 2 or 3 good cornerbacks. And yeah, there's always some guy that comes from nothing, comes from the 7th round and does good. And even in receiving that happens, receivers. But I don't know, it just seems like if you're a decent receiver and maybe not like the elitist one, then maybe switch to cornerback, and make some money. I don't know, just something in my brain. Let me know what you think. Bye.
I think that works. However, there's also a question of maybe it's just easier to play receiver in the NFL than it is to play corner, which I think there's probably a good case to be made for that. In other words, if you're an elite receiver and you switch to corner, all you're doing is taking yourself from an elite player that's going to be a number 1 pick to a player that's going to be a 4th, 5th round pick and maybe not thrive as well. I mean, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, maybe you're good enough to play both, but that would be, I think, the concern. So, I don't know. I don't know about that necessarily. Guess you'd have to answer that question first.
Ryan, I got a question that's right down your alley. Oh, this is Nico, by the way.
What's up?
Just went golfing with some of my buddies. Coming back, it's late. I'm tired. We had to walk because it rained. Horrible. Look at the things I go through. Anyways, here's what I was thinking. Do you think, and I don't know if it's possible, because you know AI a whole lot better than I do. My knowledge of AI is saying, make a picture of my dog riding a surfboard, on a 50-foot wave. That's all I know about AI. So I was thinking, do you think NFL teams now are keeping track of their entire draft board? Because let's face it, every year people get released around this time of the year. We picked up some linebackers, from the Texans. Was that dude high on our draft board, 3 or 4 years ago? Whenever he got drafted, maybe he was. So what are the chances? Do you think that, or can they? I don't know. Can they do this where they keep track of their draft board for 6 years, and then even maybe keep track of their PFF grades and all that stuff, how they played, injuries, the teams they're on, how the teams did, what deficiencies they might have in other areas, because let's face it, we got Devondre Campbell, and he was kind of meh. We turned him into a Pro Bowler, right? We were hoping the same thing would happen with Isaiah Simmons. Didn't quite work out that way. But, so then you could just hey, AI, hey, robot, who's been released already? Oh, this guy was, not on your list. These 5 guys were high on the list. I don't know. I mean, what do you think of the chances of that happening? And if not, why not? Because I'm sure you would agree if AI can make your life easier, you should probably use it and abuse it, because it's not like you can clock out and go home. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I just thought that was kind of interesting idea. I don't usually have good ideas, and maybe I'm way behind and they've been doing this for years. Who knows? But just let me know what you think. Bye.
Yeah, obviously I don't know if teams are doing it, but it's certainly possible and becoming more and more possible as time goes on. Obviously teams for many, many years have had libraries full of data and everything that you can go back to. They should have a long time ago started putting that online, not only for the ease of use of finding the information, but even before AI, they've had tools that you can use to for whatever you feel like using, whether it's just searching or writing programs to be able to run calculations or whatever. But yeah, like you were saying, AI would also be great for if you just want to take all the data and put it in a database and then allow AI to search it for reference. there's a lot of free public tools for that right now where you can just put data out there. I think Gemini has one, and like I said, a lot of the other ones have what are called projects, where you can create a project, you can add a ton of data, and then just ask it questions. I did that for the off-season and preseason with every single note, every single pass, every single thing that happened in training camp, so that I can go back and be like, hey, how did so-and-so do? So I don't know what the specific use case would be that you were thinking of, but it's definitely possible. Whether they're dragging their feet to do it, which I'm guessing they are because their teams love to be old school with stuff. I don't know, but it's definitely doable. And like I said, it's becoming more and more possible to do more and more impressive things as time goes on. Drury from Green Bay.
Hey Ryan, it's Drew from Green Bay, and you were talking a little bit about David Bakhtiari and Jair Alexander and how we lost them, and I would say those are two blue chip players when they're playing at the top of their game.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about has Goody brought in enough talent, you have to consider losing those two guys is a big blow, and it's not the fault of Gutekunst, But then when you look around the team, we do have Josh Jacobs, Zach Tom, and Xavier McKinney, who I'd say all three of them are blue chippers. And from what I've always heard is a team needs about 3 blue chippers on the team to be a very good, Super Bowl contending team. And then I think we do have potential in Edgerrin Cooper and Jordan Love to be blue chippers eventually. And, Love's already really good. Cooper's been,
I would probably put Edgerrin already in that category, to be honest.
But I think that, he's still a little young, figuring some things out. It's a little early to call him a blue chipper, but I would expect him to eventually become one. So I think Gutekunst is bringing in enough talent, enough elite talent, but we might need a little time to see it come to fruition. But then I did want to mention too, I thought that Nick Nyman signing was a little interesting because I would have rather. I mean, we'll see what Nyman has, but I would rather just keep Welch. I felt like Welch played good when he was with us. The other was in 2023 or whatever, and he played excellent this preseason, and he just never seems to get the opportunity. But I would have preferred to just put Welch on the 53 if we're gonna go that route. But Welch is on the practice squad for now, so hopefully at least we can keep him there. But anyways, what do you think of Nyman? But have a good day. Bye.
Oh boy. Well, that's another one that kind of slid under the radar for me that I just completely missed. Not that we added him, but the fact that he went straight to the 53 is what I had missed. So again, you're getting just an off the cuff thing here. I find it, let's call it what it is. He's a special teamer. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I mean, he's kind of a Keyshawn Nixon in that he's played very little actual linebacker football and is a special teamer. But I had made the point when Keyshawn came over, his grades aren't terrible, and maybe there's a world in which he can be an actual linebacker. His grades the last 2 years, granted we're talking 247 snaps and then 44 snaps, but the last 2 years it was 72 and 72. He's never graded out poorly in anything except run defense in 2021. Outside of that, it is kind of 60s and 70s across the board. Mostly 60s, but he had a 69.4 run defense grade in 2024 and a 71 coverage grade in 2023. But as the number 5 linebacker, he is definitively a special teamer. He's got 1,336 special teams snaps. As many snaps as he's played as a linebacker in 4 years, he plays that every year on special teams. And his grades are 81, 68, 83, and 80. He is a special teams ace, you could say. And it's kind of exciting because it reminds me of Eric Wilson, who was a special teams ace, but Eric Wilson is getting much older. So they decided to move on from Wilson and then went ahead and added Mr. Nick Nyman, and they probably had their sights set on. I mean, and it's perfect because we have our linebackers. We're hoping to add that special teams guy, and he becomes available, and they just grab him. He was with the Chargers for 4 years, was very good for those 4 years as I went through. He got let go because nobody seems to care about special teams, just like the Packers never did up until the last couple of years when they started caring and started grabbing these guys and making me freaking happy for once. Houston picks him up. They let him play, tried him out, decided they didn't like him, despite the fact that he had 21 special teams opportunities and had a 78 PFF grade on special teams. But as a linebacker, he had a 35 grade. So he didn't do very well as a linebacker, and so they said, screw this guy. So yeah, I'm very, very okay with it. All right, let's take our final break, and we'll get through the Wednesday notes, and then get into Thursday, which is the day that he was traded. So we'll hopefully get a couple of those before we get out of here. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Yo, Ryan, it's your uncle. Rico.
What's up?
When is it? It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday evening. I just wanted to say that I'm amused. MVS got cut today by the Seahawks, right? And then you get all these Packer fans that want to talk about MVS. We should get MVS back. We should get MVS back. And I was like, that's funny. We literally just cut probably 4 receivers that are better than MVS.
True.
I mean, it's weird how familiarity, you know, that word.
Yep.
Because he was an ex-Packer and not a very good one. He was never good the first time we had him, and
right.
He isn't any better now. Why would you want that guy? Whoa, he knows what he doesn't know anything. He's a bad football player. He can't make a team. He can't even make a bad team. Why would we want him? It's amusing. It's just funny how that, because people are familiar with him because he's an ex-Packer, like the Rasul thing. It's kind of like that. It's just like that, exactly. Oh, bring Rasul back. No, Rasul was bad, or he'd still be on our team. MVS was bad, or he'd be on a team, any team. But since he's on no team, that ought to tell you something, especially our team, because our team is elite. I'd rather have, like, any of the guys we just cut that are probably going to be on a practice squad, a couple of them, you know, like Cornelius. Not only is he a monster, I mean, I don't even know how fast the guy is, but his name is friggin' Cornelius, like Yukon Cornelius. Dude, all right then, I'm just being dumb. But you get what I'm saying about guys like Rasul and MVS. Because they were Packers once, they should be Packers again. Makes zero sense. They're not. Yep, I'm just talking in circles. Later, Rico out. Go Pack, go.
It is weird, and I don't want to pretend it's the same people, but it didn't seem like Packer fans liked him very much when he was here. And then he left, and suddenly it's like, we should get him back. He's super fast. It's like, yeah, he was fast then too. What did that do for us? I don't know what we're doing here.
Yo, Ryan, it's your uncle. Rico.
Yo.
Dude, help me here.
Okay.
I just had another buddy of mine say, oh, I heard MVS got cut. The Packers should bring him in. It's like, what's wrong with you people? Help me. I was like, okay. First of all, he couldn't make the Seahawks roster. They got Cooper Kupp and, that one dude with lots of names. And then who else? They got nobody else. I said, but he's a decent player. I was like, who do you want to get rid of to bring in this loser? You want to get rid of Romeo to bring in this guy? Are you kidding me? You want to get rid of Wicks? Are you kidding me? Maybe we should get rid of Golden. Yeah, let's get rid of Golden and bring in MVS. I guess maybe, number 18. You know, that guy? The guy that I don't even necessarily like.
Sure.
Because he dropped balls in the playoff game. But to bring in MVS, he was 100% worthless when they had him. Help me. Lord, help me. All right, then. Rico out. Losing my mind.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I've really heard from people is that it's the speed factor to replace Christian Watson. And again, if we just leave it at that, it makes sense. But again, it didn't work. Like the speed was no good. First of all, his speed doesn't show up on the field super well. It's not terrible, but it's not as blazing fast as you would think. It's not like he was just pulling away from guys all the time. But then again, how often did that connection work? And you know, it doesn't seem to work anywhere he goes. It doesn't seem to translate. It doesn't. So who cares if he ran a fast 40 a long time ago? We gotta push past that a little bit. All right, first Thursday call, and 4:17, pretty late in the day.
Well, Ryan, this has been a while. This is Kyle from the Chip, you know.
Hey, what's up, man?
Well, I just saw that we have acquired Micah Parsons.
Yes.
I don't know for sure that's true or whatnot, but if it is,
I love that before we even know if it's real, the first thought is, I got to call that friggin' guy with the phone number thing. I love that.
Be flooded with calls with this. I'm assuming that people are getting more ecstatic than most. I guess, your take on it, do you think this is going to put us over the edge? And I know it's been said for a long time, 2025 was going to be the year, saying we've got 19 free agents coming up next year. I guess my question to that is, how many of them do you think we're going to sign? All right, Kyle out.
Well, I'll save this for, it won't be tomorrow because that's already recorded and I didn't talk about it. Let's say in roughly 2 days, and then we're going to have to kind of wrap this up and start focusing on the Lions a little bit in this week's lineups and all that. But one of the things I do want to address is this idea that we're not going to be able to re-sign any of our free agents. I'm going to want to do a little bit more digging, but I can't imagine there's a single free agent that, let's put it this way, the Packers desperately want to keep but won't be able to keep. I don't think there'll be any free agents the Packers want to keep and won't be able to keep. I've seen a couple articles, and I didn't super scour them, but there were 2 different articles I just clicked, and I was going to save them for later, but I kind of just skimmed it a little bit. And it seems like to me the one thing they all have in common is they point out people that you could argue that they would have been cut anyway. It's not really a financial thing. It's more of a, I don't know if this is going to be a good fit, or but yet there's this weird thing where we tie it to Parsons as though it's his fault, you know, the contract and whatnot. So in terms of, does this put us over the edge? I mean, I can't know that. I don't know. It helps. I know it helps. I think everybody knows it helps as much as a lot of friggin' haters out there, rivals and whatnot, and certainly Dallas Cowboys fans want to pretend that that's not the case. Of course it helps. And I talk a lot about that tomorrow, going through several different articles of people who have done some research into some different statistics and whatnot, make a pretty definitive case about how specifically he's going to help in that regard. But I'm genuinely not concerned, and we, you know, we've talked about the salary cap. I know you haven't seen it yet, at least at the time of this call, but the salary cap implications are meager. They are basically non-existent this year, pretty close to non-existent next year, especially when you look at what we freed up with Kenny, and I'll have to look at exactly how that all works out. It's probably a wash. The third year is relatively expensive, but not really. There are pass rushers this year with bigger cap hits than that big year 3 cap hit we're going to have 3 years from now. Like Max Crosby has a bigger cap hit this year than that, and then year 4, again, we're not going to be paying that. So, no, I don't think that I don't think it's a problem we're going to need to worry about. Kyle, what's going on?
Ryan, it's Kyle from Madison. Dude, you need to go on vacation more.
Yes.
Because
I agree.
Holy.
By the way, I am open to GoFundMe. We'll set up a GoFundMe. I will literally live on vacation with my family. I doubt my family would protest. Might be a little upset about some of the activities. We could try to vacation somewhat close. I don't know. I don't care. I will go on vacation. I will do what I have to do for the Packers. But I'm happy to set up a GoFundMe, and you guys funnel money in that. And as long as there's enough money, I will drive to a hotel at least a state away, and we'll just see how she goes. All right, I will stay away this entire season. In fact, I will happily stay on the beach in Florida, and if there's enough money, catch a flight back home to visit my family and hop right back on the plane and make sure I'm on a beach for the Packer game. So, you talk amongst yourselves. See if that's something you guys are interested in. GoFundMe, we'll make it happen.
I'll keep it family friendly, but if what I'm reading right now and probably what every caller in each direction of me on here is saying is true, then good Lord, did we just... I mean, what I'm reading right now is Micah Parsons to the Packers for 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark.
Yep.
If that ends up being true, I mean, if not, then okay, sorry, I jinxed it, everybody. If that's what just happened, in addition to like $188 million, highest paid contract, but come on, we knew that was in the cards, right? Highest paid now isn't highest paid in 5 years anyway. I don't care about that, especially if what I'm reading is true. Look, I love Kenny, but I mean, let's be real clear-eyed about it. Since he signed that third contract, he has not played up to his potential any of those seasons, right? I think, what do we got, 2 or 3 of them in the books? I mean, and I'm pretty sure PFF will back that up. He has been disappointing. So if the Packers are able to get off of some of that contract by trading him, I think that's how it works. I think you have to, some of it goes off of your cap, but I think like long term they get some stuff off the books, don't they?
Yep.
Or it accelerates. I don't even know, but if they traded Clark and 2 firsts to get Parsons, are you kidding me? I mean, you're not going to get a guy that good or even a prospect that good where the Packers usually pick. Anyway.
Well, that is a very underappreciated, under-talked about thing. Even as much as it's been talked about, it hasn't been talked about enough. This is highway robbery. It just is. The Cowboys should have never been willing to give him up, period, for anything. If somebody came to me, if I had Micah Parsons and somebody came to me and they're like, how about 3 first-round picks? The answer is no. You don't let go of a guy like Micah Parsons. You just don't do it. It's not a thing. The fact that they're willing to give him up for the same compensation that, I mean, there have been some trades for 2 first-round picks that are nowhere near this level of value. The only one that's close is Khalil Mack. You could say that that's a very much a similar situation. And there was more being given up in that. Not much more, but there was more given up in that trade. And even that was kind of stupid.
Right? So, like, even if you're going player for player, that's not going to happen. You get a guy in his prime, and really you're just giving up an extra player. You know what I mean? You're just giving up an extra first-round pick, which, sure, that could suck, but holy crap. I mean, if they just did that, I would say that is chef's kiss, unbelievable value.
Yes.
I mean, I'm if that's true, I can't even believe it. I mean, but Schefter, I'm looking at Schefter's tweet right now. If that's what they got him for, that is insane value. Are you kidding me? For Clark and 2 firsts? What? I mean, I hope the other shoe doesn't drop and there's more to it, but if that's what they paid in addition to a contract, is there anybody here listening to this who wouldn't have run to whatever you run to and hit the button to sign up for that? I would be very surprised because you're getting the best pass rusher in the league still in his prime.
Yes. In
a 4+ year deal. And you're only giving up basically an extra first and Kenny? I mean, 2 firsts and Kenny Clark for Micah Parsons. So you got Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary, and Lucas Van Ness now on this team. Is that real?
Great timing. That was exactly 3 minutes. I love this because I get to relive this. When I saw the news, I was panicked. Again, I looking at my phone. I don't know what's going on. I'm calling people, like, tell me what's happening. In the middle of nowhere, I get no reception. Like, I just, somebody help me out. And then when I hear the compensation, it's like, what are you talking about? What else? What else? And just sheer joy. Sheer joy.
Hey, what's going on, Ryan? Chris from Alabama.
What's up, man?
How's everything been going?
Get to it.
I was actually about to call in and give a prediction of the record this year, and I haven't heard anybody give a prediction of the record, what record we'll have this year. But
yeah,
I got to call in about something else because apparently right before I called you, I got wonderful, wonderful news that we have traded for Micah Parsons, and I am ecstatic. I don't know how everybody else feels. I know Kenny Clark will be missed.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of was like, dang, we got to be Kenny, but then I had to think about, like, were they really going to re-sign Kenny after ain't his contract? I believe his contract.
And that's the thing. You can talk up Kenny all you want, and you know, respect for Kenny and all that stuff. And you can talk about how actually no, he wasn't bad. He was actually really good and all that, and that's fine. I'll even give you that because the fact of the matter is that guy was not getting re-signed again.
Up after next season, or it might be this season. I'm not sure. I think it's next season. But even still, were they really going to re-sign Kenny Clark? He's just hitting 30 years old. You know, he kind of been on the decline the last couple of years. You talked about it. So I kind of get it from the organization standpoint, and it's just a player that they were going to really probably wasn't going to try to re-sign, or if they did re-sign him, they were going to have to, you know, restructure the deal or renegotiate, all that good stuff, you know, just the whole nine. So you bring in a generational talent, a younger player to put on the other side of Rashawn Gary on the edge, or you can really be versatile with him. I'm thinking he's playing edge.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people say, oh, they bring him in as a linebacker.
That's stupid.
He can play either or, so.
Find me somebody that said we paid him all that money to play inside linebacker so I can choke the living crap out of him.
But I think he's definitely going to be on the edge. That's where he's getting his money from. That's what we're paying him as. We're paying him as a premier edge rusher. 4-year, $188 million contract. I know he had this year left on the deal, so I know that kind of stretches it out just a little bit. I'm pretty sure you're going to go over that whenever you get back off the vacation.
Yeah.
Oh, hope you had a good vacation by the time you hear this, by the way. But anyway, I got a lot of stuff going on in my head, so if it feels like I'm rambling, then forgive me about this, because I haven't called in a while, and the stuff that I was going to call in about, I have completely forgot about, because we have Micah Parsons now, and I'm just thinking about how dominant this rush game. Rashad Gary on one side, Micah Parsons on the other side. Oh my goodness, I'm ready to see it. Let's go. I got to call back. I'm going to call back because my time is about to run out and I'm too excited and I got the remnant. I'm calling you right back. We got Micah Parsons. I'm excited. I'm ready for the season. Let's go, Pat. Go. I'm going to call you right back. It's about to cut off. I'm about to call you right back.
It's like I can't even verbalize how exciting it is. Like I want to just repeat everything I've already said. It's like, did you guys know that? It's like, yeah, you said that on the podcast already. It's like, yeah, but I don't know if people understand, man. Like, I don't know if they get it. Like, I don't know. I don't even get it. I don't. There's a lot of stuff again on tomorrow's podcast that really illuminates how impressive this guy is. But yeah, again, I just want to say, it was after I finished recording the podcast, but I saw some of the videos. They had Rashawn Gary and Edgerrin Cooper in the locker room afterward. I've never seen Rashawn, like, it doesn't say much because he's like Romeo Doubs on the defense. You know what I mean? Like, he's a very serious person. He's not very emotive. I think I've heard him laugh for the first time ever. And he laughed while talking about how good he is. It was something to the effect of, like, I mean, if he does the stuff that he was, you know, in some of those reps that we saw, and he started giggling, and he's like, it's going to be crazy. And it was the same thing for Edgerrin Cooper. I mean, they obviously didn't even do all that much in practice, but it's one of those things where, as I said on tomorrow's podcast, he is a broken human being. He was never meant to make it out of the factory. He is a defect. You're not supposed to be able to do the kinds of things that he's able to do. It's not possible. It's not humanly possible. And even freaks like Rashawn Gary and Edgerrin Cooper watched it and thought, oh my God, I can't believe he's on our team. And I don't know what's going to happen against Detroit. I don't know that we win that game. That's a tough matchup. That's a tough team. It's a really talented team, all that stuff. But a lot of the stats are pointed directly at Detroit. Number one, like, hey, not having a guy like Micah Parsons is the reason you lost to Minnesota and Detroit. Oh, and you have him now. Oh, and by the way, the only time Penei Sewell gave up 5 pressures in a game since 2021 or something was against Micah Parsons. Oh, and by the way that Detroit plays Green Bay and a lot of other teams is they allow, or one of the benefits they have is they allow Penei Sewell to work on an island with no help. And that helps him with a lot of other things. Except there's one guy in the league that you can't do that to, and that's Micah Parsons. I mean, the whole thing was basically not having somebody like Parsons made the Packers exploitable so that teams like Minnesota and Detroit could exploit it, whereas other teams maybe couldn't because they had as much talent and as talented of coaches from a schematic standpoint as they did. The other teams couldn't exploit it. The Vikings and Detroit could. The whole idea now, though, is depending on how good of a start Micah Parsons get, he hasn't been with Green Bay for a very long time. He's got back injury, all this stuff. But, you can't do that anymore. That whole game plan you guys had against the Packers last year, tear it up, throw it out. It's gone. It's done. You can't do that anymore. Sucks to suck, bro. All right, I got to do one more because we're just getting into the meat of it. We're having too much fun. Uncle Rico, go.
Uncle Rico is in the house. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing it. Micah Parsons is in the house. That's what I hear, buddy. You're gonna have a trouble on your vacation not doing any podcasting with this whole Micah Parsons thing going on. Enjoy your vacation, buddy. Try not to freak out. Rico out.
I failed miserably at that task because I was absolutely freaking out, obviously. But appreciate the shout out and understanding me and the fact that it wasn't going to happen. But boy, oh boy, what an absolutely fantastic week. I'm excited to go through the rest of these calls. We have 40 more to get through. I'm guessing most of them are freakouts about, can you believe what just happened? I am beyond excited to start getting into the regular season stuff. We got to do a breakdown of the Thursday night football game coming up and all that good stuff. I can't wait. But I do have to get up out of here. You all have a good rest of your night. I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.